The following program is brought to you by our Patreon supporters. You can request podcast topics, enjoy exclusive RPG and video content, and more. Even just $1 a month gets you gameplay episodes a week early and makes you officially cool. Just like our Trash Elite, a guy from Ohio, and Rob Destrucity, KTL, Thomas Austin Jr., Kitty Holbrook, DG, Drake Starstorm, Passion Killer, 711. That's them in totality.
Well, there we go.
I forgot to say and. So, and. Greetings and salutations. It is I, Eric J. Chucky, joined as always by the boy.
Hello.
He's busy. He's looking at his phone.
I was pulling up a list.
No, he's just looking at what he might eat for dinner tonight, a la Booker T. What else is new? It's a Gauntlet. Do you remember the Gauntlet? We've got a whole playlist about it. This video will be in it.
And we do one every time Destrucity KTL reminds us that it exists.
We're going to try to do them more often.
But we can't promise anything.
Well, I'm going to try to wedge them in more often when we need a desperate podcast, because we're really scraping the bottom of the barrel on tier lists. And also, because we're not doing Journey of Wrestling right now and there's no competitive aspect, there's only one way I'm going to force you to watch either the B movie or Hard to Kill. And it's if I win something. And I will watch as many Marky Mark movies as it fucking takes to give you the pleasure of enjoying those films. You're welcome in advance.
I will hate. I'm going to be honest, if you make it an or and I have to pick, you can keep stacking movies in front of Hard to Kill, and I'll pick the other one every time. I don't want to watch the B movie. I do not want to watch Hard to Kill.
This is a Gauntlet. Well, we've explained the rules in previous episodes. Go back to the first one. That's where we explain them best. I'm a little worried this one's going to go quickly. So I will really quickly run through the rules. Any physical equipment the character has. Basically, we each pick a number of characters as well as ourselves to go through a series of tasks based on fiction. It was inspired by, I believe, a Reddit post. The details of credit are in the first episode. I'm not tracking them down. So any physical equipment a character has, as well as any mana or other resources like that, are replenished between each round. Non-fatal injuries are automatically healed between rounds. We can't take anything gained within the rounds with us between the rounds. So if we were at the cool gun store and had to survive the cool gun fight, Jessica Fletcher can't be strapped with 2 9mm. That's just not how it works.
Unless she, carries them fangs on her at all times.
She does not. They understand this experiment and know why they're there. However, we, when making teams, have to keep in mind that they should get along. Otherwise, we're going to defeat ourselves pretty quickly. We can't use a character twice unless we use a token, which we get back when someone wins. So far, we haven't really been interested in using the tokens much, and we have a lot of fun ideas that give us our old characters back for later. So that's why we've started doing the old competition rule.
Yep.
Loser has to experience something that the winner is being a real wiener about. Although, honestly, I enjoyed the happening much more than he did. Go check out our podcast on that and Sturgis Simpsons.
I really played myself.
Yeah, you did. What was it called? Sound and Fury. That was really fun. So, the current round is Normies only.
That is to say, not unexceptional people. Simply people who do not have explicit superpowers.
Or magic, or what have you. Why don't you start with your team, my friend? They're visible on screen right now, but let's talk it out.
I have Sherlock Holmes. I specifically went with the RDJ version because he makes a good thumbnail. I'm going to be completely honest. That is why. He's also charming and slightly less of an annoying prick than the BBC version or several other versions from the past. So I went with that version. Derek Morgan,
which is a great choice,
from Criminal Minds. Frank Martin, John Transporter is how I think of him, from the Transporter movies, and John Wick, because If you're gonna make me pick people without superpowers, I'm gonna get as close to that line as I can.
John Wick, just from the first movie though, because you haven't seen the rest.
Yeah, I have not seen any of the John Wick sequels. I understand they're quite good. I love the first movie, but I found no desire in my heart for more of that.
And of course, we are on our own teams, as you can see now illustrated by our little sprite guys. My team is, as mentioned before, Jessica Fletcher, the main character of Murder, She Wrote, the series. Am I doing back-to-back Murder, She Wrotes? Yes, but that's mostly because this is an all normies round, and I don't know a fictional detective that the boy wasn't going to select before me. Have you picked Sherlock before?
Nope, I checked twice.
Okay. I'm really surprised, honestly.
Me too!
Yeah. We have Jake Jensen from The Losers. I went with the film version, again, for thumbnail reasons, but he's not all that different in the comic books. He is former military and an expert hacker. And pretty funny and charming, also. We have April O'Neil, the late Archie comics, before she turned into a turtle. This is when she's been trained to use the katana by Splinter, so she's a capable fighter. She's compassionate, and she has an investigator's head on her shoulders. And finally, we have Naked Snake specifically doing a tranquilizer run because I wanted someone proficient at combat, but I don't think Jessica Fletcher is going to hang out with the Punisher.
I don't have the Punisher because Frank, as much as I love Frank Castle, he is an unhinged murder goblin, and I didn't want to have to wrangle both him and Sherlock Holmes at the same time.
I would have used one of the movie Punishers, probably Thomas Jane. He's generally regarded as...
If I ever run across a team where he fits, I'll be using John Bernthal.
I haven't seen enough of him to know how far off the deep end he goes. So that's something I'm going through right now anyhow. And then, of course, myself, the distressed possum on your lower left. We will get into why shortly. I've played myself.
I'm cackling evilly because...
I've played myself.
Exactly. So, the rounds. We each select 3 rounds for a total of 6. We select them blind without knowing the other person's team. And then we usually try and keep a reserve in case there's overlap or we need to, broom one for one reason or another. This time I messed up and we needed to get rid of, I used one we'd already done, and I did something that White had already done, so I ended up having to use a sub, and he ended up having to use a sub because I messed up twice.
My sub was something I kind of thought of as like an unfair joke to try to get an advantage. I wouldn't dream of doing that on account of I'm a good person. But because I didn't have any other ideas before the teams were revealed, it was the only technically fair option I had. So that is actually our first round of the Gauntlet, is publish a successful novel.
Yeah. I'm gonna be honest. I don't no one on my team has experience doing that. Maybe Derek Morgan?
Maybe.
But presumably this is in our universe, so he's not actually like an FBI guy, he's just some rando.
Well, I assume he has his history and that would help him. I assume they all do. We know RDJ as Sherlock is not doing that.
Yeah, all right, so that's actually... Sherlock Holmes definitely has the ability, but even if the goal is even if he is stuck in an interdimensional horror show with a bunch of people he doesn't like, he's not doing that. So, Watson writes those books, so that's not really his vibe. I think we could get it done because we have someone who is probably, has written a fair amount. I imagine someone with the degrees that Morgan has has published.
I think he's your best bet at getting a novel done.
And then we have Sherlock. We can maybe interest him into trying to contribute to the novel.
Sure, I agree.
Contribute to. But you see, the problem isn't you. The problem is you didn't say book. You said novel.
Yeah.
Maybe a treatise on criminal profiling and understanding the criminal mind. Those two would be into. Neither of those are a fiction novel, and no one on my team has any pre-established ability in that range. And I'm in my mid to late 30s, and I haven't published any novels so far, so I'm fucked. Because your team has a literal, successful, published mystery author on it.
And a literal unsuccessful published author on it. And an investigative journalist. I think there's albatrosses on both of our teams. Because I really, this was an off-the-cuff joke I said to myself. That's all it was. Naked Snake and Jake Jensen are in the same league with the Transporter and John Wick, in that I think they would want to draw too much from real-life inspiration and be concerned about implicating themselves in doing so.
Also, even if they were all transported, to our world, so there's not a risk of that, there's nothing that says they're good authors, man.
Sure.
There's no textual evidence that these people are good. I really picked a team of fighters, and you said, raise a child. I've got nothing, man.
So if you guys haven't seen an episode before, this is often my move. I've previously done stuff like complete gift shopping list during Black Friday, no violence. You did end up winning that round, but I like the instinct for most people doing this is I will go for the superheroes and the powerful and the secret agents. Let's try to get that low ball first pitch round out where you have to do something that is mundanely difficult.
I like it. I like it a lot because compared to some of the later rounds, this is a wildly different kind of challenge, and I think it's very interesting. You absolutely take round one.
Yes.
I don't think that's disputable.
No, I don't think it is either. Buy the COLT REGAN books and Red Company. Links in the description. In the link tree. We jump up in difficulty immediately in round two. It's a pretty big jump. Your suggestion to engage in the plot of the film Smokin' Aces. Great film. Haven't seen it in about 20 years, but still really solid film. Would you remind us what Smokin' Aces' plot is?
Very briefly. You don't need all the details.
No.
There is a rat. Not a literal rat, that would be better. It is a mildly unpleasant human person who is going to be turning state's evidence. We are taking the place of the protagonists who were charged with keeping this man alive in his hotel suite when there has been a huge bounty placed on his hand and an entire roster of colorful fictional assassins is coming to kill him. That is the brief. Yes.
I am inclined to give you the edge here because you have a full team of badasses with RDJ's Sherlock Holmes, a Guy Ritchie character, being the least bad. Well, you being the least badass.
Yeah, I am fully the. My job is to hang out with the snitch and keep him busy and engaged. I'm his dancing monkey for the whole challenge, for the whole time that we have to be there. I believe it's a certain period of days until he can go to trial, a couple days or something. That's my job. The actual fighting of the comical assassins, of the colorful cast of assassins, that belongs to mostly Team Murder Squad. That is the guy who is in the Transporter movies and literally John Wick. I feel like they've got that. Unraveling the larger plot that was causing these assassins to come here and sort of locking down the other parts of the plot of Smokin' Aces where you're trying to make sure that the people this guy is snitching on go away. That goes to the literal best detective in fiction, and the guy I have here for the combination of being an excellent detective, a badass, and, most importantly, being very good at dealing with unfriendly geniuses. He's Sherlock's Wrangler, is why Derek Morgan is here.
I think he's going to be really good in Smokin' Aces because a lot of the characters in that film are defeated by accidental or intentional exploitation of their foibles.
Yeah, all the colorful assassins, they have a gimmick. They have a profile as an unsub would have from Derek's expertise. So his ability to sort of break that down is going to be very helpful. I feel like my crew has this completely on lock. I just have to keep a mildly unpleasant guy busy for a couple days.
Now, I don't think I have a bad team for this. Jessica doesn't do much here, neither do I for that matter. But we've got one ex-military hacker who he can hold his own. We've got Ninja and then Stealth Ninja.
And there is a larger mystery at play.
Sure.
Where you have to try and, solve the larger problem in addition to just the keeping the guy safe. And I feel like your Jessica Fletcher and your powerful hacker friend can manage that along with April O'Neil, but the problem is combat strength.
Yes.
You have Solid Snake, but that's just one Solid Snake.
We have April. April is there for combat strength. At this point in the Archie comics, she's not like, quite a ninja turtle, but because she doesn't have superpowers. She
is a comics ninja.
Yes.
So she's got like we're brushing the superpower edge, like I have with John Wick, who can survive like being thrown off a building.
So in a vacuum, I think I've got a good team. Up against your team, I think you've got the edge here. I think you've just got the better power unit for defense.
Well, this is one of the rounds I selected, so that may have something to do with it. Well, I'm just being honest.
I'm just going meh, 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 meh.
No reason?
No reason.
Okay.
Okay, so round 3, round 2 going to the boy, is the second half of the James Bond film, GoldenEye. That is to say, the part that takes place largely in Cuba.
I have only seen this once when I was a very small child, so why don't you explain to us what the deal is with GoldenEye?
All right, Boris Grushenko is a powerful hacker, very skilled, very obnoxious. He's taken control of the GoldenEye satellite and intends to steal all the money from the British banks, wiping out any record of it ever existing in the first place, which, as the movie put it, would send Britain back to the Stone Age. There is no proof that they ever had this money, even if we all go, yeah, you did, but we don't know how much it was, and I can't prove anything. It's going into the pockets of Grushenko and Alec Trevelyan, former 00 officer himself, and his squad of incredibly powerful goons who are trying to protect Boris.
I have some questions.
All right, let's hear it.
Do you need to know how to do a computer hacking to defeat this particular challenge?
It is not essential.
Okay.
But it is the swiftest way they had it done in the movie, except for Boris being stupid and picking up a pen that was also a grenade and clicking it obsessively.
And we're not James Bond, and presumably that was one of James Bond many murder pens. Mm-hmm. And we don't have the murder pen, so we can't. We're not gonna. He could click a regular pen as much as he likes.
So the question is, which team has the advantage? Do you think your group of extremely intelligent and capable warrior detectives could take out Sean Bean's goons and Sean Bean and then maybe coerce or force Boris into, who is a very obstinate man. He was anonymous before anonymous was anonymous. Force him to unhack the satellite since he's got nobody to protect him in a better or faster way than my team. And because this is such a high action situation, do you think either of us lose anybody in this assault?
Unless we're counting us, I don't go. I don't go on the assault.
I stay on the beach at Cuba. We maybe have like radio connection, me and Jessica, with the other 3.
I don't know the plot. I can't be helpful in that way, because that's usually the way we're helpful, is we know the plot. So I give them all the sugar packets I have, and I send them forth.
Yeah.
But as far as... So we know one guy can solve this, because one guy solved it. It was James Bond.
It was 2. It was James Bond and the lady he was with at the time, whose name escapes me. I didn't write it down.
Bond and the girl of the hour.
Bond and the hacker.
Yeah. So we need a hacker. There was one there. I don't got one of them. Sherlock Holmes is very smart, but he's from before that was a thing by a goodly margin. Derek, I believe, is a intelligent person, but he is canonically not the best with computers. He has staff for that.
He does. He has Garcia for that.
That is canonically not really what he's great at.
My guy would tap his ear and then go, "Okay, baby girl." Oh, crap. And that would be
John Wick, not notably a computer hacker. My brain genuinely keeps thinking of his John Transporter.
Frank Martin.
Martin. Frank Martin, I believe in one of the later Transporter movies, is like computer savvy, but I have sugar packets on that, man. I don't remember that fully.
And that's why I suggest, do you think they could coerce this incredibly stubborn, entitled man into unhacking it?
I think Sherlock Holmes and Derek Morgan combined could coerce pretty much anybody to do whatever the hell they wanted.
Morgan is notably great at talking people down.
And Sherlock is notably great at understanding what makes people tick.
Yes.
He's not necessarily great at talking people down.
No, he's the opposite of that.
But if he gives the information to the guy who's good at that, maybe we can do something. The problem is a matter of speed, because you have the tools for the job. You have a powerful combat hacker and a super soldier spy. Well, not super soldier in the superpower sense, but you get my meaning.
That's why I went with Naked Snake and not Solid, because he's just
Solid
a guy.
Is explicitly a super soldier.
Yeah.
So, like, you've got the tools and you've got good backup in April O'Neil, and you and Jessica Fletcher are having fun on the beach.
Yeah.
So you have the tools for the job and enough numbers to do it, to meet that quota of what it took in the main plot. I am going to have to brute force this problem.
Mm-hmm.
So is your tools to actually solve it the same way James Bond did better than my, all right, boys, kill everyone who seems unfriendly in this facility, and then we'll talk.
And that's the thing. Talking of speed, getting it done quicker is basically where we have to draw the line there. Do your guys take them out faster? They might, and I'm not trying to overcomplicate things here. They might have a problem with Morgan being an officer of the law, because while John Wick and Frank Transporter would just kill all those guys, he might try to tell them not to, try to use non-lethal force.
Traditionally, though, Morgan is the most violent.
You're right. You are right about that.
Of the crew in Criminal Minds. That is another reason I picked him specifically. He's the most ready to get down. And these are terrorists who are trying to destroy the government. So I feel like we could maybe work that out.
Okay.
My instinct is to give this round to you. I think it's fairly close. But I think we could kill all those guys way faster than your team. I got just a lot more really good murderers.
Yeah.
But the problem is, like, working over a dude mentally takes time.
Yes. And this dude is explicitly very smug and stubborn. It is the whole defining aspect of his character is that he's so self-important.
Yeah, give him a couple hours in the equivalent of the interrogation cell with the two guys right behind me on the thumbnail working him over. I feel like we can do it, but like you guys might get it done faster, and I feel like you probably will just because you have the tools for the job.
I don't think either situation leads to a dramatic fight on the satellite itself. I think your team handles it faster than that, and my team doesn't even have to go there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't think we lose anybody either way.
Mostly because I'm smart enough not to go.
Same. I would try to keep in radio communication in case we need Jessica to provide her insight into the human condition, and get Boris to not do something stupid. But otherwise, we're on the beach. I'm a man down, so I'm a little slower, but I also have an infiltration expert. Well, two of them, really. I would say Snake is the better. All right, but I'm not going to argue with you. I will say, while we're in the middle of this here, while I did pose a challenge that largely normal people can surmount, my team was not made to custom overtake this. Usually when I make a team, when there's not specific rules over top of things, I try to have somebody who's very tech savvy. I try to have somebody with magical knowledge and or ability. I try to have a brute, and then I try to have someone who's dexterous and maybe good at infiltration or disarming things and stuff like that. Travel even.
A good all-rounder. I tend to try and craft a team that is very good at what they're very good at, because I don't think it's, given the varied nature of what these rounds can be, I don't know that it's possible to cover all my bases.
Oh, no, it's not.
So I try and just optimize a team who is really good at what they're good at, because that way, in the rounds that I can take, I take them strongly.
So our next challenge is another pretty big jump up in difficulty. That is survive a week in The Walking Dead. This was both of our concepts. I said survive a night in Night of the Living Dead. You said survive a year in the zombie apocalypse. By our powers combined, this is what we went with. Why don't you break it down for me, my brother?
This is not the very beginning of The Walking Dead. It is maybe a week, 2 weeks into shit getting real bad. So there's not many safe places. The walkers aren't all gooey yet, and like, you know, easily you can take them out with like a foam hammer. This is sort of peak zombie apocalypse age Walking Dead. We have to survive a week, I believe we settled on. Mm-hmm. By any means necessary. Whatever is necessary to not die in that time frame. This one isn't complex. There's not like a mystery to solve. This is just intense combat that requires extreme, like, decisiveness and the ability to be, and like genre savviness. You have to know the rules.
I have been a zombie fan from way back. I've read a lot of zombie literature. I think I'm more of an asset to my team here than I often am. However, I do have a bit of an albatross in octogenarian Jessica Fletcher.
This is going to sound really controversial. He's a very good combatant in his movies. Robert Downey Jr.'s Sherlock Holmes, if I'm going to lose anyone in this round, it's going to be him. He's very curious.
Yes,
and
that's
he
true.
Likes to fuck with things he oughtn't. Now, I will try and sit him down at the beginning of this and go, look, here's what's happening. I know all this from the plot. I watched this show. Here's what's happening. Here's why it's happening. You know, here's all the answers. It's boring now, right? You don't want to fuck with the zombies now, right? They're super boring now. But this is a dude who injected himself with, like, experimental cocaine juice after injecting his dog with it and put his dog into a coma. This is a guy who's prone to making bad decisions, and he's a drug addict. So, if I lose anyone here, I think it's probably Sherlock Holmes. I don't know if we do lose anyone here, but if I do, it's not me. I'm fat and old, but I have 2 murder goons, and I know the rules of the zombie apocalypse.
Is this specifically set in Atlanta?
I would say for ease of use, that's fine.
Okay. If it were set in a narratively impactful place, it would be set in Cabot Cove, Maine. And Jessica Fletcher would have to confront the corpse of her dead husband. And then I would 100% lose her.
Look, if you want to do that...
I'm not saying it should be. That's why I asked you before.
I'd say The Walking Dead spreads out, but I believe it is generally set in the Atlanta, in Georgia area.
Yeah.
You know what? Just for simplicity's sake, let's say we all end up in the same hospital room Rick Grimes wakes up in.
Oh, so we have to fight our way out of something as well.
Yeah. Just to give it a nice, solid start point for both teams.
Now, Snake's not going to be much use here in terms of firearms until we can, get somewhere where there are guns.
Weapons have to be acquired on site after all.
Right. Well, and he's got a trank gun. I believe he starts with that. But that's not going to do shit to a zombie. He does, however, he is a master of close quarters combat. I think he's okay here. April has a katana. That's a perfect zombie killing weapon.
That is established in the Walking Dead universe as being peak zombie killing weapon. It has extra buffs in universe.
I don't think...
All my dudes except Sherlock are strapped. Like, there's not a problem there.
Well, and again, we're going to have to acquire on site for Jake. He might have a gun, but like, I'm not critical to that. I think my team would survive. I think your team would survive better, and I understand what I'm doing to myself there because I know what the next 2 rounds are.
I don't disagree. I was gonna fight. I will say that I think this is a long enough stretch of time that I would do my best. But if you're for the win of the round, I am willing to sacrifice Sherlock Holmes. I'm willing to say that we lose him because he, I don't know, injects himself with zombie blood to see its effects or whatever. He's like, no, it's fine. I'll live. It's fine. I'll tough it out and then we'll get to the next thing and I'll be healed. That's how it works. And then that's not how that works. And I explained to him that's not how it works, but he already did it 2 hours ago.
I'm going to accept that out of spite.
That's fine. That's
just spite. I want one small victory here, and if I'm going to be watching The Departed, then that's got to be what it's got to be.
Also watch Ted 2.
If I'm going to be watching The Departed, then that's got to be what it's got to be. So the next one is the one where I played myself.
Yeah, you absolutely did. I'm not even going to front. You dumb motherfucker.
I forgot.
Why did you do this?
Because I forgot, okay? So the task is retrieve the water chip and bring it back to Vault 13. Again, a task that a normal person accomplished. We are escalating in difficulty. We've got weird super mutants and shit now.
There's zombies here as well. They're not infectious, but the Fallout universe is very, very dangerous, and this is Fallout 1.
Yes. So while this was accomplished by None Pizza Left Beef and his best friend Ian, the door blocker, and we each have teams of 4 to 5 people. It's complicated. It's difficult. Here's the thing I forgot.
I know where the water chip is.
And it's written into his fucking soul.
I know where it is. I know where the easiest one to get is.
I don't remember that shit. I don't remember that shit at all.
So I know. We just go there.
Yeah.
We just go to the place, we get it, and we go back.
I think we would eventually figure it out. We got 2 pretty smart people, 3 pretty smart people on our team. 4. One's a hacker. Hell, we've got hacking skills. That's very useful in Fallout.
Yes.
I've got a great team for Fallout, come to think of it. I just don't have you.
Look, sans me, if I died in the zombie apocalypse, it would be a much more even. I have a great team, very smart people, very combat capable. It's a dangerous world, though. There are super mutants. These guys are, all of these guys are on the back foot. They're outside their power bracket. The thing is, I know where the thing is, and so we just go there, we get the thing, and we leave. All of these dudes are fairly, Sherlock is gone. The rest of these dudes are fairly effective at sneaking. So we just avoid people. 3 of them, I'm sure, have survival training. I am fat. I can, live for a long time without food. We go to the place. We get the thing. We bring it back. It is an errand. It's a very dangerous errand, but there's no mystery. There's no thought involved. It's just, we just gotta go here.
I get distracted talking to Tony Shalhoub. That's already adding several hours to our time.
So, I don't know why he gave me a round.
I didn't. I forgot. I forgot that you have this knowledge. It's because I don't. So I don't come from a perspective of, he's just going to remember exactly how to do this thing. It's when we talk about Mega Man, our Mega Man series should still be going on, right? Yeah, it is definitely. Just started. And you, I'm going to use the language of accuse me of knowing exactly what's about to happen in all the levels. No. That's you coming from your perspective of, if you were this good at this game, you would know exactly what's about to happen. I think there's guys here that are tough or a pit that's hard. Let's prepare for that. I fucked myself on that one.
You're real solid dick, brother. I'm not even.
And I'm not gonna win this round. I can't. It's I hate him. I hate him so much.
This round I picked, and I'm gonna be real with you. He thinks I'm a schemer. He thinks I'm a mastermind. I picked it because it's funny.
Again, you did not pick this on purpose to fuck me over, but you did pick this, and it did fuck me over.
Yep.
Because of something that you forgot to consider. Your brief, I'll let you do it. You're going to want to do the thing.
So it's very simple. You end up in our team, the 4 of us remaining, end up in a prison cell on a very specific night in a very specific place. And Emperor Uriel Septim shows up, and we are given the Amulet of Kings and told we have to close shut the jaws of oblivion.
So, why is this bad? For me. 1, I asked my friend, how are we going to pass through this? What dream do we have? Even if you have a bunch of really powerful guys, killers in their own right, armed with guns. How are we going to get through this incredibly difficult task? And you responded to me the same way they do in the game.
Get good.
Get good. Level up your skills. We are in the world of Oblivion, so we have access to these same stats as everyone else.
Yeah, Tamriel isn't like a fantasy world that is abstracted in a game. Tamriel is explicitly fictional. It is the dream of the gods who create it. You can get out of that universe by just achieving like bodhisattva. It's called Chim, realizing that this is fictional and fake, and just ascending to a higher plane of existence. Anyone in that universe can get superpowers by doing enough push-ups. So
here's where this becomes a problem for me. When I play video games, I often subconsciously, but somewhat intentionally, don't optimize myself because that stops being fun. So I don't really know how, as a defense mechanism, as a self-preservation mechanism for my enjoyment of this game. Whereas you have read thousands of hours of lit RPG fiction, and knowing how to break a game, especially one you are familiar with, over your knee is like breathing to you.
Would you like to know the funniest part?
What?
It's not even what I do.
No, it's not necessarily.
No. That's not what I do in this scenario.
Oh, right. Yeah, because thing two. Thing two reason I'm fucked over. We had this conversation, and he was like, well, you know exactly where to go and what to do. And I went, no, remember? I've never beaten Oblivion. And you went, but you got really far into it. And I said, no, I didn't.
I know for a fact he got far enough to do what I plan to do. But this is a teaser, might be, there might be future Oblivion content on the channel that isn't available yet. So I don't want to give too many spoilers for the plot of Oblivion, because this dude apparently doesn't remember it.
I remember the narrative beats, but not the mechanical tasks.
I know for a fact he's gotten far enough to do this exactly the same way I would. I know it for a stone cold fact. But if he doesn't remember, he doesn't remember. The simple answer is, I know who you have to give the amulet to, I know where they are, and I know the series of events that causes that to be a problem, and they're pretty easy to avoid if you know they're coming. So I just go to the place where that guy is, give him the amulet, and then take him to where he needs to go to close shut the jaws of Oblivion. Bish, bash, bosh. It's a 3-day task.
Yeah, I feel like I've got to shut some Oblivion gates or something. I believe I will be following the plot of this game without a single sequence break, and I'll be looking over at your parallel world where you're down a guy and closing this shit immediately, and I'm like, well, how the fuck did he do that?
There is the outside chance I have to close exactly one Oblivion gate. But one, it's the tutorial gate, it's easy. And two, no I don't, because my characters can climb walls.
Yeah. So, you guys want to hear the kicker? Congratulations to the boy. The boy wins this one handily. I only won 2 rounds. Very proud of myself for those 2 rounds.
You realize that is the minimum winning threshold, right?
Otherwise, we would have tied, yeah.
Yeah. That's not handily. That is, in fact, the worst I can do and still win.
Yeah. I don't feel like a winner when I have to watch a Marky Mark film. I have seen 2 of his performances to date, and neither of them were what you would call good.
Oh, bud. I don't know why this meme, I don't know why it popped into my head, but we're committed now, and he's got a filmography. Right now, the choices are The Departed or Ted 2.
It's The Departed. I'm not watching Ted 2
and
yet.
Then the next time, it will be Ted 2 or something else, and I have to find the next thing.
But for your sake, listener, do you want to know the real kicker here? I realized how good it would be to move our challenge punishment to the Gauntlet after we'd already set up the Gauntlet, and I realized I was going to lose.